everyone. I'm excited to introduce Karen Gonzales to you today. She is also a member of the organization CALMA, the Colorado Alliance for Latino Mentors and Authors. She's a founding member, and she is such a beautiful soul. I had the pleasure of meeting her at El Centro Su Teatro several years ago before I even published my book. And I'm so grateful that the Tanya Moat and Tony Garcia had this forum called the Comadre Cocktails. And it was such a heartwarming and powerful experience for me because, again, it was before I wrote my book, and they had me, Karen, and Cristina Montoya, who is also another founding member of CALMA, on the panel. And what we did was present our stories and our work to an audience, and they had a Q&A afterwards, and we got to talk about what it had inspired us, what our stories were about. And so I got to hear all about Karen's awesome work in the Amalgre review, which we will discuss later. But for now, I just want to have her just share a little bit about who she is and where she comes from. She has a beautiful family. She's also part of what I consider the successful in the SLV series because her family is originally from northern New Mexico. So again, I will just let her share a little bit more about who she is and where she comes from.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm Karen Gonzales. Well, my maiden name is Trujillo. So I was born here in Denver, Colorado. My parents are from Boyeros and Cañoncito, New Mexico. They're little towns, little ranches actually, but they moved to Denver in 1940, I believe, and anyway, they stayed in Colorado. And well, I grew up in the West Colfax neighborhood, and I attended Colfax Elementary School for about 4 years, and then I started attending Catholic schools and graduated from Catholic high school. And I attended 3 different colleges here, Metropolitan State College, Community College of Denver, and Arapahoe Community College. And pretty much my dad always told me to get a government job because he retired from the federal government. So my first 4 jobs were with the federal government, or my first 4 years of federal service, but I ended up retiring from the Colorado Department of Transportation with 25 years and 26 years of state service. So that was a blessing, and it was just in time to help provide caregiving for my parents who have lived to be centenarians. And so I'm still currently doing that with my mother. She's 100, and my father passed away this year, but he was 103. So anyway, I have 1 son and 3 grandchildren that I'm very proud of. And yeah, I get involved in a lot of, nonprofit organizations, volunteering and all that currently.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Karen is like the networking queen. She's amazing. She has so many different contacts, and she's always very helpful in sharing information that she has with people and connecting people to one another. She knows that it's going to be helpful in propelling their work forward. And so it's just been such a pleasure working alongside Karen with this group, CALMA, and your energy is so amazing and so incredible. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the organizations that you're a part of and your role in some of those organizations?
Oh, sure. So, well, currently I've been a member of the Colorado Society of Hispanic Genealogy for probably about 11 or 12 years. And so I've done a lot of research, and well, let's see. I've started joining a lot of writers' organizations recently, or in the last few years. I first joined the National League of American Pen Women, the Denver branch. Mm-hmm. And that's how I pretty much got it started with writing. I saw a sign that they were having a guest critique, and I had a story. So I attended the guest critique, and yeah, they critiqued my little story and encouraged me, to pursue it. They thought it was very entertaining. So, about a year later, I was fortunate to get it published in the book, the Amalgre Review. But meantime, I joined like the Lighthouse. It's another writing organization. And recently I've joined the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And now with CALMA, our Colorado Alliance of Latino Mentors and Authors, it's a new nonprofit I'll be part of. So.
And El Comité?
I'm on a few other committees. They're not organization. Well, it's the AARP. Okay. El Comité is, they're Latino committee that we're currently working on voter registrations, and they have a lot of different things like the Cesar Chavez March that we're part of, and they put out a Latino community newsletter. So we're hoping to get CALMA in that newsletter to launch our website and to launch our organization.
Awesome. And what about Las Comadres? Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. I guess I've been the Denver coordinator for Las Comadres and Friends National Latino Book Club, the Denver network, since 2013. So I've also served as a national submissions coordinator for a year, volunteering with the leadership team. But we read books by Latina and Latino authors, and it's a lot of fun. We had been meeting at Smiley Branch Library, and then we moved to Rodolfo Corky Gonzales Library, and now we're meeting on Zoom. And it's open to anyone.
Yeah, we're all having to do Zoom these days, unfortunately. Hopefully we could get back to in-person again sometime soon. So when you do these book club, is it a book club where they all read, they choose a book to read and a certain author, and then do you do reviews, or how does that work?
Okay, so the National Book Club picks a book, Latina and Latino authors submit their books to the National Book Club. And they usually pick two. One is the book of the month, and one is called Conversations With. But every month they interview two authors on an author teleconference call. Our book clubs can send questions to them to ask these authors, and anyone can listen in on the author teleconference. So they're usually about the fourth Monday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And so our book club will read the book of the month, and most of the time we get to the second book also. And so we mainly discuss the first book of the month for the majority of the meeting, and then we move on to the second book if we see how many members got to read the second book. But they're all really great books. We've enjoyed all the book of the months and Conversations With books.
That's amazing, and it's really cool for aspiring authors and people who have published work to submit their work there and get their stories out and have them read by people nationally. I think that's an amazing network and organization. I'm kind of bummed because I was supposed to do, I think, the Conversations With in May or something like that, if I remember correctly. And then, of course, with COVID, we had to cancel. So I was.
At our book club meeting, I think we were just going to have you come and introduce your book. Sometimes we'll have local authors come and do a presentation, but it's not the actual Conversations With book. But if you submit your book to Las Comadres, it could get selected either as Book of the Month or Conversations With, and you would get interviewed.
Yeah. Well, I was looking forward to that conversation anyway, and just meeting everybody at the the chapter and learning more about the organization. So. Hopefully sometime soon again we can reschedule that at some point.
Right. Yeah, great.
Yeah, well, so you're definitely just a pillar of the community, and I appreciate all the work that you've done and how you've contributed to the works of Latinos throughout the community and in different ways too. So it's really, really awesome to see, all the work that you're doing. But I want to talk a little bit about your own book and talk a little bit about the one that you have coming up. So maybe we can start with the one that's written in the Amalgre review.
Okay, sure. So that short story, it's called Finding the Lady Llorona, and it's like a memoir that takes place here in the West Colfax neighborhood. When I was young, we would go down to the gully where the W line runs, and we actually found the Lady Llorona there during the day in disguise. We heard during the day she was in disguise. So it's about me and my friends and our adventures, And then it talks about the gentrification of the West Colfax neighborhood, because that issue was called race, class, and gender. So it fit in perfect timing, So I talk about how the neighborhood has changed, from the 60s. That's when the story takes place, like around 1968. So currently I'm writing this same story. There's more to it. And I'm writing a children's chapter book, or it might be an early children's chapter book. And it's probably, I haven't confirmed the name yet, but it'll probably be the mystery of La Llorona and Mr. Llorón, because we also heard there was a Mr. Llorón in the neighborhood, haunting the neighborhood. And it pretty much goes into fiction, it's a fiction mystery for children.
Oh, fun. So La Llorona has to have a counterpart, right?
Yeah.
The partner, fine.
He's the father of her children. Right.
I like it. Well, I can't wait to read that and see that story in book form. Another, written work about La Llorona, because I think so many of us have had so many different experiences with her all over the Southwest. And, so many stories to tell, and the more that we can get out there, the better, because it's so much fun.
Right.
I want to talk a little bit about the Amalgre review. I spoke with the publisher, Joe Barrera, about it, and he shared a little bit about what the title means, the Amalgre review, and it's the name of the river, the original name of the river in Colorado Springs. That was given by the Spanish, and he has a really interesting story about that. And so this is really a way to just bring an anthology of lots of different authors and writers according to a certain theme that he has into one book to share with everyone. And yours was on race, class, and gender. And so tell me a little bit about the gentrification of the West Side and how the La Llorona story fit into that.
Okay. So, well, when we moved to this neighborhood, it was predominantly Jewish neighborhood. And then, Latinos started moving in. Well, at the time, we were called the Spanish people, because that's what my mom told us we were. Spanish. So it was Spanish people and the Jewish people in this neighborhood. Now the neighborhood's, really gentrified and pretty diverse. But the sad part about it is that they've knocked down all the old homes, even historic landmarks. One was right across the street from my parents' house. It was a sanitarium in the 1930s, owned by a female homeopathic doctor of homeopathic medicine. So, she was like a pioneer in that time, but I don't know, the city, they don't really care to preserve a lot of these historic landmarks. I think, they've just, well, there's a process to try to preserve them, but it's so expensive to try to apply the application fees to try to save a landmark, and all, these hearings you have to go through, they kind of make it difficult. So yeah, pretty much now that whole, it was like a triplex on the corner, and then the owner had about 8 other units altogether. So they've been knocked down. Now there's like 12 units that'll be 2 structures with 6 units each. And this is what happens is they price them at $600,000 to $700,000 a piece.
Wow.
So pretty much, the neighborhood, you have to be rich to live in this neighborhood anymore if you don't originally own property here. So yeah, and all the houses, it just looks so different since the light rail, was put there. So it's been kind of sad, but we still, went down to the gully and took pictures because we, saw La Llorona in the water, and she was in disguise as a rock. But we went down and took pictures, and it's in the book because I don't know, I guess, or to me, I'm still seeing her down there, and she ended up in the water. A face came out in the picture, so I kind of think she's still down there.
She could be. She could be. She's waiting for you, Karen.
Well,
that's funny.
I've returned.
She's like, tell my story. Tell my story.
Yeah, I am. I'm telling her story here in Denver.
Awesome. I love it. That's so cool. So I'm curious. I mean, you've had so many different adventures, and in your career, and being a part of all of these different committees and organizations. So what advice have you learned along the way, and also from your parents? I mean, what a beautiful story to be, to live to be. What was the word you used again?
Centenarians.
Centenarians, yes.
Right.
And that's I just think that's such a huge blessing. And so what kind of advice have you picked up along the way that you would give either to aspiring writers and authors, or to anyone that's just searching for life lesson or nuggets of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Well, I know I'm not a natural writer, and I didn't take that much English. I took maybe 2 English college courses, and my advice would be to keep taking more college courses. So if you can build your vocabulary, depends on what you're going to write. Pretty much just joining writing organizations, because the networking and advice you get from the other authors that are there, other writers, and their experiences, and they try to mentor you and help you in these organizations. So pretty much, and to network, go to book festivals. That's how I found the Amalgre Review. They're out of Colorado Springs, but I went to a book festival at the Denver Public Library, and I attended a workshop on a guy that his next book was going to be his short stories. And I thought, well, maybe he's accepting short stories from writers, but it was going to be a book of his own short stories. But he had short stories printed in previous versions of the Amalgre Review. And, he took me to his table and showed me, who the publisher was. And it happened to be Joe Barrera, a Chicano publisher. And so, I was able to get my story in, it was perfect timing. And but just, book festivals, there's so many people with different resources, not just authors, but just outreach. You have to go and put your name on all these mail lists. That's how I get so many emails. I'm on every mailing list there is, and then I share them, because that's kind of what I did with my job at CDOT. We would share resources with the contractors and consultants, and we worked with minority businesses and women and emerging small businesses. So we did a lot of outreach with all the chambers. They always had a lot of events where all the chambers would be there and all their members would come, and we would mingle. And so that's kind of how I just kept on with the networking and trying to share information with other people.
Well, I think one of the important points is that this is it's sort of an overwhelming task to write a book and to get your work published, and I think you can't do it alone. I mean, you can, but there's no reason to, because there's so many resources out there. There's so many people that have sort of gone before us, and have experience and have resources available to them, I think. And most people are willing to help and to lend a hand and to share their experience. And I think that's sort of the goal with CALMA, to be able to be a resource for people to, when you're not sure, okay, now I have this great story, now what do I do? Or, who do you know that is a graphic artist that can help me get my cover together? When I was going through this process, I'm so grateful for the people that lend a helping hand, even if it was just a few minutes of their time, just to share some information with me about how to go about doing this. And I think, your experience is so valuable, and your contribution to this organization is so amazing, because that part is very, very critical. We can help each other, we can do this, we can get our voices out there. And so I guess my last question is, can you share some of the strategies and ideas that we're thinking about with CALMA, and how we do plan to support the aspiring and current authors that are in Colorado?
Sure. So right now, currently, the publishing industry is 79% non-minority, and 6% is Hispanic or Latino authors, throughout the United States. And so we just thought, if we could share our resources with each other here in our state, all the authors, try and promote those that we have here, to get, their names out in other states, and just, more of a national, international attention. The website will be good. We're hoping to have like book festivals, maybe here in Colorado. I know other states have pretty large book festivals, and we like to have maybe like an outdoor festival, and like maybe bi-monthly roundtable meetings, for aspiring writers to come, and authors, to meet other people and network, and share, leads with them where they can find out information. We hope to put a lot of that on our website. I mean, there's a lot of good websites out there too with a lot of this information, so we can link their websites to, on our website. And there's a lot of opportunities, it's like other organizations offer mentoring opportunities. We're hoping, we can do that. And, if we're able to raise money or grow, we could probably offer a little scholarship in the future. But pretty much, like for now, we're kind of limited to maybe Zoom meetings, and we were hoping to have a Zoom mixer, and hoping to have it maybe for Hispanic Heritage Month. And I'm just hoping other organizations like AARP offered to promote it in their Latino community newsletter when we do our launch. But we're hoping other organizations can maybe merge and partner with us to, maybe we could have something at their events, like at their galleries, to exhibit the authors and their books, and, have a few make presentations. I know that happens at some of the current galleries already, but we're just trying to promote more authors that others don't know about. So hopefully our website will be able to do that, and us networking with everyone.
Right. Well, and helping with maybe workshops and conferences and book signings, things like that.
Yeah, we're hoping to do all that. Right.
Yeah, and I think we all have contacts that we've used that are artists, and again, graphic artists or publisher contacts, and editors and things like that. And so just getting the word out so that this process can be easier. I think that's one of my goals always, is just to try to either help the next generation get and share what I know and what I can to help either the next generation or the next person that's trying to do, trying to publish a book or do what I've done in the past. And it's so wonderful when we can all come together and help each other out like that. It makes the process easier and more enjoyable too. So.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate having you here. Is there anything else you want to share about your work or another published work that you didn't get to talk about?
Oh, well, I have a couple short stories in this book. It's called These Are They. A group called Sisters Enterprise put it out. And it basically is, they do an annual Random Acts of Kindness event where they pick community members who do random acts of kindness. So I got recognized one year, and so my biography is in it. And then they also recognize centenarians. So my dad ended up getting recognized, so I have his biography. And they asked me to write a story, if I could recall, Random Acts of Kindness. And I just kind of wrote a story. It's called Random Acts of Kindness with the Dreamer, because I was a mentor with the Goodwill Industries mentoring program. I had an undocumented student at North High School, and I pretty much wrote the story. We actually were honored by the mayor as a mentor-mentee partnership of the year with the Goodwill Industries one year. And so that was pretty neat. So yeah, I just kind of wrote our little journey of our years together, kind of. So
that's wonderful.
Anyway, that's what was in that book. But
so where can we tell us the name, show us the cover, and tell us the name of that book one more time?
Well, it's called These Are They.
And where can we find it?
Actually, that Sisters Enterprise, they have a little website, but it kind of is a long, I don't know, web URL address, but I'm hoping Christina can put it on our author page where she's acknowledging authors on our website.
Okay.
So I gave her the link where that's available, and the Amalgre Review, it's available on Amazon and
yes,
the amalgrereview.org website.
The Amalgre Review, you can find on Amazon, and it's issue 5, Race, Class, and Gender, publisher Joe Barrera, the summer of 2018, and there you can find the story of La Llorona. And keep your eyes and ears peeled for the Adventures of La Llorona and Mr. Llorón. I don't know if that's the title, I'm sorry, but is that what it? Can you share the title one more time of what you think?
Hopefully, The Mystery of La Llorona and Mr. Llorón.
The Mystery of La Llorona and Mr. Llorón. See,
there's a lot of adventures in there. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see that one published and out in everybody's hands as well. And again, thank you so much for doing this interview with me, and it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Kim, for all you're doing with your interviews and your work with CALMA, and
thank you.
Look forward to your stories as well, your books.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So
I know. Thanks.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Talk soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody for watching. This has been a La Gente Legacy production and the CALMA series. Stay tuned for more.